In this video, we are going to finish taking a look at the WNBA 2025 draft prospects from college. In the last video, we looked at the top 10 guards. In this video, we will go through the power forwards, the forwards, and the centers. And then we will finish up by looking at my overall top 12 players. As always, if you enjoy the content, then please consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like. Your comments are welcome as well. The comments that stick out from the last video, somebody asked me why Deasia Kelly was not on the list. I've responded to that. I just don't think she was efficient enough in comparison to the other point guards on my list. As well, another comment I got from EC5657 regarding not sleeping on Serena Sundell of Kansas State. They are absolutely correct. I took a look at Sundell. She's very efficient. She's long and can shoot from all areas of the court. So thank you for that comment as well. I now have my eye on her, and she is right up there with Emily Ryan on my list and should be somebody that should have been included yesterday. The other one I left off was Bree Hall of South Carolina. I just forgot that she was a senior. And if I wanted to argue the point, I'd say, well, Bree Hall only averaged 9 points versus the other off guards. But in truth, I know that's a BS argument, as South Carolina has so much talent and so many players to feed. It's hard to get your shots, and per 100 possessions, she averaged 19 points. As well, if you look at her shot chart, one of the things I keep on mentioning in the video, she can score from all three levels. She's 38% from the top of the break on three-pointers, 38% in the corners, 50% in the paint, and 38% in the mid-range. A little bit low at the rim at 55%. Her defense is obviously good as she plays for South Carolina. So at this time, I will leave her outside the top 5, but if she has another good year, she could really set herself up to move to the very top of the off-guard list. And you could make a case for her being in front of Felia and AZ Fudd. I wouldn't have a big argument with you one way or another. Now let's take a look at the power forwards. The power forwards are stronger than the small forwards, in my opinion, in this draft. So number 1 is Kiki Ariafen, who is 6'3", averaged 19 points, 11 rebounds, 2.3 assists, shot 54% from the floor, 33% from 3, but only took 6 shots. And overall, her game reminds me of Aaliyah Edwards from UConn. She has that inside game in the paint and at the rim. Edwards was a little bit better, but then she has the mid-range game where she shot 47%. Number 2 on my list is Maddie Westbeld from Notre Dame. She is also 6'3". She scored 14 points, 8.7 rebounds, 1.7 assists, shot 45% from the floor and 36% from three-point range, making 39 threes out of 106 taken. And that's why WNBA teams will like her, as she can stretch the floor and shoot on all, or score on all 3 levels. Number 3 on my list is Gianna Barker. She scored 12.2 points, 7.6 rebounds, 1.4 assists, from the floor 47%, from three-point range 34%, as she made 23 of 67 three-point attempts. Her efficient field goal percentage was 51%. Now this is a big year for Barker, as she needs to show a little bit more consistency. It's a big move, her transferring from Texas A&M to UCLA, and will give her a big stage. And as well, she'll be able to show how she fits in with Lauren Betts, a traditional center, and how she would play that stretch 4, which she'll probably be playing in the WNBA. Obviously, in this upcoming season, there will be a lot of eyes on when USC squares up with UCLA and Kiki Ariafen versus Gianna Barker. That should be a fun matchup, and I think we'll get more information at where these players are at when they go against each other. Number 4 on my list is a European player, Asia Siuka. She is 6'4", and from Slovenia. She has the European game, as she can shoot from outside, but can take people on the inside as well, post them up and play defense. The hope for her would be that she is European Alana Smith, who's currently doing quite well for the Minnesota Lynx. The last one I have at number 5 is Rhea Marshall, who is also 6'4". Some might argue she is actually more of a center, as she really doesn't have a mid-range game. She averaged 10 points, 10 rebounds, 1.5 assists, shot 47% from the floor, and really she operates well in the paint, but struggles at the rim a bit, as she only shot 54%, and then mid-range she was 27% going 16 for 58. And that would be the concern with Marshall. She's not really a 4 that can stretch, but then she's a bit of an undersized center. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the center. So number 1, I have 6'6", Dominique Malangala from France. I spoke about her in my last video. She moves well, has good hands, and just a really, really good prospect in my opinion. Number 2, I have Ayoka Lee, who is a big traditional center that punishes people inside. She scored 19 points, 8 rebounds, just under 1 assist, shot 61% from the field, and her efficient field goal shooting percentage was 62%. If you look at her shot chart, again, traditional center, she does her damage at the rim, and she's effective there, 72%, taking 231 shots and making 167 of them. The question with her is also health. She has had knee and ankle issues throughout her career, so she really needs to demonstrate that she can be healthy her senior year. Number 3, I have Sedona Prince, who's 6'7". She averaged 19 points, 9.7 rebounds, 1.9 assists, shot 55% from the floor, and much like Lee, she is a big traditional center. Number 4, I have Bella Smuda, who plays for Liberty. She's raw. She's 6'5". She averaged 15 points, 10 rebounds, 1.4 assists, shot 58% from the floor. She can shoot from mid-range a little bit, 15 for 40 for 37%. Inside the paint, 47%. And at the rim, obviously 67%, where she gets the majority of her points from. Overall, she's just very raw. Then the last one I have is 6'3", Alex Markowski from Nebraska. I probably should have put her in as a power forward potentially, as she has a mid-range game but can post up inside, and with her height, if I was doing it over again, I'd probably put Rhea Marshall at center and put her over on the power forward list. She goes okay at the rim, 61%. Mid-range is good as well at 43% on 14 of 32. In the paint, interestingly, only 36%, so 57 out of 157. And then three-pointers from above the break, she shot 29% on 21. She made 21 out of 71. Now let's finish off the positions by going to small forward. So number 1 is Anissa Morrow, who's 6'1". She averaged 16 points, 10 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 46% from the floor, 21% from three-point line. This is a big year for her at LSU, as in her second year at DePaul, she took more shooting on but wasn't efficient. The question is, this year with Reese gone from LSU, will her numbers increase and will her efficiency remain there, or will she score more but her efficiency go down? Now, number 2 on my list, I think I'll probably get heat for this, but I have Aubrey Griffin from UConn, who is 6'1". She averaged 9.5 points last season, 6 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 54% from the floor, 27% from 3. Her effective field goal shooting percentage was 56%. And my rationale for this, it seems like she's on track to make a good recovery from her ACL injury. Gino had a theory last year that she plays her best in short bursts, and I think that's the plan for UConn this season, is when she comes back to give her limited time and be explosive during that time. And if she demonstrates that, I could see teams taking a chance on her, just saying she's a good, safe pick. This might be a player we can plug in that will be able to play defense and do everything well, which is essentially her game. It'd be nicer if she was a little bit better from three-point range, but overall, she is just a good, solid, fundamental player that you know will play good defense. Now, if that last one didn't cause outrage, this one might. It's Sanaya Rivers from NC State, who is 6'1". Now, many will argue, and you're right, that she's more of a guard than a forward, and I am cheating. I admit that, but I felt bad I didn't put her on her guard, so I'm going to put her down as a forward wing player. Crush me if you must. She averaged 12.5 points, 6 rebounds, 3.7 assists. She shot 38% from the floor, 26% from 3, 41% effective field goal shooting percentage. These need to improve. The next one I have is Matilda Eck, who's 6 foot and put up good numbers for Virginia Tech last season, scoring 10 points, 3.6 rebounds, 1.7 assists. She shot 43% from the floor, 40% from three-point line, and 58% effective field goal shooting percentage. I see her very similar to Emily Ryan. Will she be able to get her shot off in the WNBA, and is her shot good enough to take her to that level, or is she limited by athleticism? To be determined. Now, the last 2 players on my list are very similar. So the first one, number 5, would be Yvonne Ejim, 6'1", averaged 19 points, 8.7 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and shot 60% from the floor, and really doesn't have an outside game at all. But that being said, even at 6'1", she did a lot of damage at Gonzaga on the inside. I just don't know if that'll translate to the next level, to be determined, but I think she should get a mention. And much is the same for Leah Tu King, who is 6 foot. She's transferring to Notre Dame. She put up points last year for Pitt, averaging 18 points, 10 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and her field goal percentage from the floor was 52%. If you look at her shot chart, it's very much like Kiki Ariafen or Aaliyah Edwards. And that's the thing with all of these small forwards. They have sort of power forward games, but they're in small forward bodies. And the question is, how will that translate on the next level? So before doing my top 12, I will just go through all of the different positions and where I have them. So from the previous video, shooting guards, I have Neepkins 1, Citron 2, Sellers 3, Felia 4, AZ Fudd 5, Emily Ryan 6, and Serena Sundell, a shout out to her, number 7. As well as I mentioned, I left off Bree Hall, who should really, I'd probably put her 6 when I think about it. At point guard, I have Paige Beckers 1, Tahina Paopao 2, Raven Johnson 3, acknowledge that she might stay back in school, Olivia Miles 4, Charlize Ledger-Walker 5, and then equal 6, 7, 8 for Roy Harmon, Georgia Amore, and Sarah Andrews. As well, I acknowledge that Cheyenne Sellers probably should have been listed as a point guard versus a shooting guard. For the small forwards, I've got Anissa Morrow 1, Aubrey Griffin 2, Sanaya Rivers 3, yeah, she's really a guard, Matilda Eck 4, Yvonne Ejim 5, and King number 6. And at power forward, I have Ari Offen at 1, Maddie Westbeld 2, Gianna Barker 3, Asia Savuka 4, and Rhea Marshall 5. And then finally at centers, I have Dominique Malanga 1, Lee 2, Prince 3, Smuda 4, and Markowski 5. And then lastly, for my top 12 overall. So number 1, I think it's fairly obvious from my first video I did. Paige Beckers is number 1, the 6-foot guard, as she has it all. She just needs to prove that she can do 2 years totally injury-free. At number 2, we have Dominique Malongo. I just think she's too good of a prospect with her hands and feet at 6'6". Number 3, Kiki Ariafen. 4, Anissa Morrow. I just think her physicality, even if there are concerns over her shot and if she has range or not. Number 5, Gianna Neepkins, a long guard that can shoot and finish at the basket. I think that will be valued. Number 6, Sonia Citron, 6'1", Notre Dame. Just a really good all-around game that can plug in. Number 7, Maddie Westbelt, 6'3", can stretch the floor. Number 8, Cheyenne Sellers, a long guard at 6'2", that can handle the ball. I think teams will take a chance on her. Number 9, Janiyah Barker, 6'4", who could move up the list if she shows good consistency at UCLA. Number 10, Asia Savuka, who's the 6'4" forward from Slovenia. I think teams would be very interested in her if she's willing to come over, as I could imagine teams envisioning her being the European Alana Smith. 11 and 12, I will get crushed on because of my UConn bias, no doubt I will be accused of. At 11, I have Aubrey Griffin, who can just plug in. And then number 12, AZ Fudd. Obviously, both of those are dependent on good health and good seasons. And with AZ Fudd as well, pointed out to me earlier, if she declares. These are players that are eligible. I don't know if they will declare or not. For my money, the players just outside the top 12 are the point guards, so Olivia Miles, Tahina Paopao, Raven Johnson, and Charlize Ledger-Walker. In addition, the off guards as well, so Sundell, Ryan, and Bree Hall. I could see any of those players moving into the top 12 with an outstanding senior season, and if other players drop or get injured. Now it is over to you. Give me your poison, your feedback. What do you think I got right or wrong? All feedback is welcome. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great day.